Hello and welcome, guys, to Culture Talks episode 8. And if you haven't noticed, if you're not watching the screen and you're only listening, take a look at the screen right now. You'll notice that we have Mr. Gavan Wall with us today, and we're absolutely delighted. We're absolutely delighted to have you here. For those who don't know, we have a brilliant relationship with Gavan. We actually were mentored by Gavan, still sort of are on the odd message. And he's a great fella. If you don't already know him, which I'm surprised if you don't, Gavin, give us an intro. Who are you? What do you do? And why are you here?
That is the one and the toughest question I get asked. What do you do? What do you do? If you just say, what don't I do? And I don't mean that in any narcissistic way. I just mean, I just enjoy business, people, success, and I'm pretty agnostic in a way to what sort of industries I do that in, because my approach is, if you do the right things and you bring it every single day, it doesn't matter what industry you're in, they're all the same. It's all about people buying people. It's all about trying to help other people on their journey. And see, when you do that, I just sort of float about. All right, I'm not with Hannah, and I work really, really hard, and I've got a very supportive family. I just love having a crack with people, and it generally works. Normally, most places I go, we get a wee bit of success, and we enjoy it.
A wee bit of success.
Well, a wee bit of success, and I'm very lucky. Look, funny enough, just this morning, I was doing a post on LinkedIn, and as you probably know, we've got a number of businesses, bar businesses, for instance, that have been on the front line right throughout this. This has been really tough, and not really for me. I've actually been working from home, doing looking after the kids. My wife actually works in the Wall Group now, reporting into the operations director, Kieran, and into Rory, our financial director.
Yeah.
But it's been 3 months of stress for the teams, front line.
Absolutely.
Maybe not getting the same level of support as the care workers do naturally, and just quite right, but you're still bang, bang, bang front line.
Yeah.
I got a picture through yesterday morning from one of our teams in Rathcoole filling station, just with a picture of the front of the store ready for summer. All the composts and the plants and all of that stuff. And I just thought, holy shit, there's been 3 months of just getting hammered with stress and all sorts of things, and yet there's a team there which is taking such pride. Of course, it's flipping raining today, but anyway.
I know, I'm just thinking that.
I know, but taking such pride, and that was the Scud, that was the Wall Group, North Belfast Scud. We brought the rain, but taking such pride that they're sending pictures like that into a group chat, because they're ready to look after the customers. They're starting to think about their allotments or their back gardens or their front yards or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
I just thought, wow.
That's brilliant, Gavin. That's something
That blew me away.
That's something you obviously want to get into, and how you actually come to that point. But first of all, just to
honestly, I wish I knew, and I wish to God, I get a lot of credit for it, but I honestly, I don't know. I don't. Well, we'll maybe find out today. We'll find out at the end of it. It'll be the Emperor has no clothes. It's nothing to do with him. And he played no part. He played no part, and he just got really lucky. He got really lucky, and some great people walked into his life, and he sailed off into the distance and to do the change, venture capital. But anyway, we'll find out today, I suppose.
Whenever we're having a chat about this, actually, when we're talking to you, one of the things we were thinking about, we're going with, what do we not know about Gavin? What's one of these things that we haven't asked him? And do you know, one of the simple things we haven't asked you is, when you started this all off, what was your vision? So obviously you were in law first, but when you left it, where did you actually want to go?
Right. Okay. This is actually a big question. I don't know if it's about culture as such, but it is a big question. Okay. There's a reason that I left being a barrister, and this will sound really, really selfish. This will make me sound bad, but there was a limit to what I could achieve. Okay, it's really tough to become a barrister and then have the success, and I had a lot of success as a barrister. I did really well. I made lots of money at it, but there was actually a ceiling.
Right.
You're paid by your hourly rate, and there's a ceiling on what you can achieve. Okay, you can't outsource your work, some of the things I talk about in my podcast, you can't outsource your work to somebody else. You do it well, other than maybe admin and stuff like that. But you have to be the person in court. The day that you die or retire is the day that your business ends. And for somebody who had a real entrepreneurial streak in me, and sort of was in law, followed my dad, as it were, that actually eventually just, I'm not having that.
Yeah.
The sort of fun had gone a bit because
Aye.
you'd stopped building. The fun is in the building bit, and there was no more building. It was just actually maintaining.
Yeah.
You kind of reached
I,
that peak of success in it.
yeah, I have no interest in maintaining. It actually bores me.
Yeah.
To say, if you said to me, Gavin, you could retire tomorrow and we'll pay you £1 million a year, there'd be absolute no interest. I would say no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If the thing was to make me stop actually having the fun of building stuff,
Yeah.
because that's the thing that gets me up in the morning. A lot of people don't understand that, and I understand that. No, maybe they'll think I'm bluffing about that, but that's the truth. So, moving on to the entrepreneurial stuff, what I wanted to do was I wanted to have a lifetime of building. That's what I'm interested in. I just want my life to keep building, and there'd be losses along the way. And shortly after leaving, I had the biggest loss of my life, and I ended up in my sister-in-law's back bedroom for 5 years. Most people know that story. Whenever my property stuff came down around me, but it was taken right on your question. I've mentioned it in the podcast before. There was a barrister. His name's actually Stuart McTaggart,
Right.
and he came up to me in Landscape Filling Station, and he'd have killed. I hope I'm being fair to Stuart. He'd have killed for my I had a big practice as a barrister, and I remember Stuart coming up. It was really good of him to come up and visit me, and he walked into the Landscape Filling Station. You guys know it. Uh, it it was 468 square feet at the time.
Yeah.
Stuart walked in. I was in these overalls, and he walked in. And he looked at it, and I could just see it in his eyes, and I was just, what the fuck is he doing? I could see it. It was all over his face. He couldn't hide it. He says he's fucking mad, and it's with me to this very day. But I knew the builder in me, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I knew that's a tiny acorn. And what I'll do is I'll build this team. I'll sort out the people that were badly led beforehand, and I'll get them on a journey with me. And when I deliver here,
Yeah.
there'll be another opportunity. And then there'll be another opportunity, and then there'll be another
Yeah.
opportunity. And so really it was about having a lifelong challenge of building business and building opportunity and building people.
I suppose, Gavin, that nearly brings into the next part, because one of the things you just said there was about taking that team that had been badly treated before and kind of sort of saying it's building a foundation with them.
Yeah.
So what happened there then?
Yeah, and remember, I didn't really know about that stuff, so I had never really been a manager. I had done lots of solo projects and property and barrister, but I'd never really been a manager, and there was a big step up, I have to say. You know, I tell a story sometimes of my first thing that really happened was actually a big disciplinary.
Right.
And maybe that was a feeling. Maybe that was a feeling on my part, guys. And maybe we'll talk about this another time. But there was a bully actually in the business. I don't know whether it was actually a real success for me. Probably a success rather. But there was a bully in the business.
Right. Which can happen.
Yeah. And because the management previously had been non-existent, this bully was able to dominate the team.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw this fairly early. And I said to myself, this is actually a test. I don't think I can. I tried to work with that person, and I couldn't really get it. It was so ingrained in them, just basically because of the culture. You're talking about the culture. It turned out the person who was in the station before me was doing illegal stuff, selling illegal fuel.
Right. Okay.
So there was a culture about one or two people protecting the interests of that person who was doing illegal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So those two people had to then dominate the rest of the team, so nobody ever did anything about it and let it continue, etc. And then I got in, and I'm going, right, well, for instance, most people were doing the double.
Yeah. Right.
Many were doing the double. And I said, I'm not having that. You either work for me or, and I gave a couple of weeks for that to be sorted out.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't mind which you do. I wish you the best. But that was just the culture of it. So that was the first thing. Then the bullying thing, and then I remember saying, if I back down from this, my building journey will not happen. It's important that I actually deal with
time
this.
and do it. Yep.
And this is, I'll tell you this fairly quickly, is that we got the disciplinary hearing, and I have shared this once or twice. I'll not say too much about people involved, but got disciplinary. The office is literally is about 4 feet by 4 feet in landscape, and the person brought somebody who got out under the Good Friday Agreement, who'd been convicted of murder, to the disciplinary hearing, who wasn't a union rep, and who wasn't a family member. So
just a
we
bit
were
of intimidation, basically.
yeah, it was literally sitting in my lap, This room's 4 foot by 4 foot. We did the disciplinary. a person leans over and says, "I don't think you'll be sacking her." In that moment, I probably knew. And look, maybe I took, maybe that wasn't meant that way. I took it that, holy shit, if I don't, I'm done for here.
It sounds pretty much like it probably was that way.
Yeah, it may have been. So she got dismissed, and
That took some cojones, as they say.
yeah, I sort of knew that this was either, if it didn't, it was not necessarily about the person who even came to the interview. It was about not dealing with the bully. And bizarrely, what then happened from that was that one of the members of the team who was getting sort of bullied actually became manager of the store. So somebody who had never come off the tills ever.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Does that show about how someone can oppress people? Like the talent you have within the organization, that one person, if the culture's not right, that one person can keep people down, and there's no progress for others then.
Yeah.
That, Sean, that one tiny piece, that person then managed that store for the next 6 years.
Right. That's unbelievable.
And literally almost independently, which gave me the opportunity then to build the business. We opened a store every 9 months. We opened a new store every 9 months for 7 years.
Yeah.
A new store, a whole new team. But yeah.
I didn't know that actually. That's
yeah, a new store every 9 months for 7 years. Whilst I was living in my sister-in-law's back bedroom without a pot to piss in.
There's obviously a lot of quick change in that. See as you were open from store to store, did you find any consistency within the culture that you were creating throughout, or did you find each store?
So what we did was, so we were generally taking on, or a lot of the times we're taking on stores that had been through some sort of trauma.
Right.
Our second store was the same. I've been through trauma, either totally absent owner or some other financial things, etc. So there was a lot of rebuilding. I tell you, I've been in stores, locked inside stores with crowds outside waiting to flip and kill me. When I've had to deal with what I found out, that first incident, there was lots of that to come in these broken stores, stores that had people that were able to dominate, not necessarily always usually for the wrong reasons, because they've been given free rein. There was no proper culture. There wasn't a culture of respect in them. And I had to deal with a lot of stuff like that. A lot of flipping. You know what? Probably because it was so on the uppers. So it may be the only reason I could actually do it was because I had nothing to lose at that stage. I was totally wiped out financially. If I didn't deliver, see, I don't know that. I look back and I go, how the hell did I get through that? But you know what? Actually, within each of those stores, as I sort of peeled back the layers of sort of stuff, the wrong culture. What I found underneath was a lot of brilliant people. Most of whom they're fair. You go into any of those stores, you go to Rathcoole, you go to Ardoyne, you go to Landscape, you go to Whitewell. Nearly all those people have been with me on the journey from day one.
And that's so true to that vision that you so naturally, maybe it's not natural, but you seem to naturally emit vision. And for me, before I even knew you, and I'll admit you were probably a bit out there for me, in the sense I was going, what is this fella, like what sort of, and I remember even the first day we met you, and you'd put a speed mentor a post out, and it was basically I think it was like the first sort of 30 slots I have here, anyone jump in there, get it done.
Yeah.
Yogi Berra, and you're actually you were actually quite sort of firm with us on that first day, and you sort of went, lads, this is a hard position to get into, and there are a lot of people doing similar work that you're doing, but it's doable. Because I remember it was like a hook. It was like you were a whole way through. You were going, like, this is what you're gonna have to think about. That's what you have to think about. But at the end, you sort of set up and went, if you're willing to work, you can do anything. And I remember thinking, holy shit, he just brought me on a roller coaster of emotion right there. And that was that was a 30-minute conversation.
Well, you're coming with us.
I didn't know that, but little did I know where we'd all go. But look, that's the truth of it, JP. It's funny. You know, I see a lot of, and you know, I'm a bit different. Look, the way I'm trying to inspire people like yourself, but I've learned a lot about also. I've probably tried to inspire too many people, and this will sound odd. So, what I learned was what I did maybe there with you guys is I used to do that with every single member of staff that I had, right?
Yeah.
And you know, I couldn't understand. It got frustrating for me. I couldn't understand why other people couldn't see the bigger opportunities in life, etc., etc. And I would spend a lot of time. Somebody who's maybe doing 16 hours a day in the shop, trying to get their mind to fucking go, yeah, right. And it took me a while. It took me a while to say, do you know what? Everybody's journey is different. If somebody's coming to me like you guys, and they're looking to be inspired, or looking to find out where the pitfalls are, or blah blah blah, wanting to find out if it's possible, that's fine. But I had plenty of people. You know what? More than happy with their life, and that's 100%. And that's I've learned a wee bit more of that. It's being happy and content with your life is the number one, right? And the drivers for that in everybody's lives are different. But I used to think, why can't everybody not think like me? And I maybe somebody 16 hours and they're happy enough, and they come in and they get their wage and they go home and they do their thing, etc. And they go down to the caravan or whatever, and brilliant. And I used to think it's part of my job. I can't. The business won't go where I wanted to go unless I can get everybody thinking the same as me. But realistically, you don't want.
But at the same time, that sort of energy, I mean, that's the kind of energy that you need, obviously, to get people to follow your vision. And the fact that you're going to provide that's probably why you have people that are with you so long. They might not all want to be managers, but they all want to be part of where you're going still, and whatever level they're happy to be at.
Yeah, it comes down to an example. I think, one of the things that always stands out to me is, and for me, that was your leadership journey. That I think that with myself and Sean, we have a lot of management background. We came from that background, so.
Your bit, I just want to be honest. Yeah, your bit, and I'll come to it in your next. That bit I find more difficult. Your bit, if you know what I mean. I'm not saying you don't have the leadership. You're building that, but that bit I find more difficult.
Yeah, and it just comes down to having the right leaders in place for you. For you openly admit you'd never been in that management setting or that formal leadership role in terms of running an organization and leading people, but it has to have that example. And one of the best examples I can give of when I sort of the penny dropped on for me on that was when I started learning about leadership, when we were leading teams, I remember there was quite a few people who would have said to me, "Why are you always happy? Why the hell are you always happy?" And they just we had a good enough relationship that they could say that and in a non-cheeky way and just an open setting. And I remember saying, this was asked quite a few times, and I was sort of going, I am always happy in work, right? Well, one, I love a challenge, and believe me, we were in challenging times. But two, because I knew that the idea of being leadership was more than just turning up to work every day, and it was always going to be more than that. And for me, it had to be, well, you need to lead by example. And for me, with you're walking in and saying, this is where you were going into areas, and we come from one of the areas, we come from Ardoyne originally, and we come from an area where not that there wasn't amazing things done with amazing people before the Wall Group came about, but at the same time, you may have came across a lot of people who otherwise hadn't met anybody like you, somebody who had already achieved an amazing career in a maybe ivory tower style role that somebody's looking at you going, who's working in that shop saying, you're living in a different bubble than me. And you were. But whenever you come in with that attitude, and that's what's amazing about culture, because if you can inspire somebody to achieve more than what they personally thought they could achieve, That's true leadership. And when it comes back around to it, that's pure another coaching and mentorship, which is what you're fantastic at doing, clearly. But that's amazing to me that you found that you went through that, and I think every leader goes through that. You have to, because there is a point where you have to go, look, everybody's not going to get up to excellence, and they're not going to want to.
Yeah.
Their 100%, my 100% is definitely maybe only their 70. Their 100% is my 70%. Sorry.
Yeah.
And when you get around that, you can, as you always say, suck the nectar out of what you can actually get the secret sauce in there. And for me, that probably was a massive learning curve for you, and what actually added to the value that you added to the community, which I know Sean will probably mention in a minute, because that's one of the parts that we want to talk about. But the business, more importantly. Sorry, I'll go off on tangents all day. Sean, I know you have another question.
No, but look, it's true, JP, and that's part of it. You talked about management there, and I want to be absolutely 100% clear about this, because I have loads of weaknesses. I don't want, it's important that we don't think that Gavan Wall just for whatever reason do it. I have loads of weaknesses, and I am stronger on that aspirational, motivational piece than I am on straight management. Okay. And I'll tell you a secret here. I actually didn't hire managers. I was direct. It goes against everything it should. It's just because of the amount of energy and time I put in, I was able to pull it off. But like, I had 150 people reporting into me effectively at one stage. It goes against everything. Totally wrong. But I didn't know. Number one, I didn't know, because I was learning on the job. I had never come. And number two, I felt that I had a weakness about managing good quality managers, because I didn't have the knowledge to impart the stuff that you know about managing. And you're building on not the culture stuff, but you're building on the leadership stuff.
Yeah.
Where I sort of had the leadership stuff, but not the management piece.
Right. Yes.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. So
and then, my job was then, right, I need to find the right managers to help me with the management piece, because this is going to break at some stage with 150 people effectively reporting into me.
Yeah. That shows for me, because I'm sure from your perspective, you're maybe looking at it going, well, it's one thing to manage a group of people who are the employees of the organization, but then when you start adding a new structure, or maybe even two structures, or two elements to the structure, like supervisors and managers that usually come along, and I'm sure confidence ways you were maybe going, right, I might get found out that I don't know my
am I good enough? Look, it's really flipping weird. It's really weird. I get found out that I don't know how to manage stuff.
Yeah, but
better managers will find me out. They will find out that I don't know how to manage.
Yeah, but you know what? Your openness to push the boundaries every time is clearly what got you to a point where you've now, and we're lucky enough to know here in the meeting, who is I believe
he's a brilliant manager
for you.
He's a brilliant manager.
He's fantastic.
And he's a great leader as well. I don't want him just because he ever sees anything. You know what? He's trying to just show there's a pecking order here. I can't.
If you want to say something nice about him, we'll keep it away from him.
Look, we know we've met Kieran a good few times, and he's a great fella. He speaks very passionately about what you are trying to achieve for the team. And because I know, Sean, I don't know if you're gonna ask this direct question. So do you want to ask it, and I'll maybe
do you know what? See, I wanted to talk business and community, but Gavin, you don't have an option. We're going to do a part two, right? It may not be next week, but we'll do a part two. We'll come back on that part of it, because I'm kind of interested to know the change in culture from Kieran coming on board and taking over the reins, and then the board that you've now put in place as well, and what sort of impact it.
I'm going to give you a good story. So, so like anything, so the ceiling that I talk about, the next thing that actually started happening on the journey was the ceiling in the barrister thing. I started getting worse. So it opened these 9 stores, and I sort of had North Belfast covered in a way, if you know what I mean. But then the wee ceiling thing, the wee nag in the back of my head started again. flip, I think there could be a ceiling on this. The rate of growth, etc., could slow. Henderson's own most of the main infrastructure, the best stores.
Yeah.
Subway, you can only open as many as Subway was pretty saturated in Northern Ireland as well. The wee nagging bit at the back of my head saying, what the hell, I need to build this. I want to tell you one thing actually. A brilliant member of my team, Yvonne, who's manager of our Whitewell store, I used to come back to her. This is just an interesting story. Used to come in. She used to buy all these crazy cheeses and all this bonker stuff that nobody liked apart from me. Right? I didn't even like them, but I pretended to her because she enjoyed bringing them into the shop, and there was always waste from it. There was a waste every week because I would come down Saturday morning and I would buy my stuff off her, in Whitewell. It was a long way from where I live, but it was part of my journey. And I used to say to her every single week, I said, I'm going to build a good management structure. Can you just bear with me? Because I knew she was somebody who needed somebody else to grow, to become a better manager. And I said to her for several years, every Saturday morning, as I bought the cheeses that half of them went in my bin, never mind the waste. But it was the wee hook to keep her going. I said, I'm going to build a manager. I'm going to get that right. And then I started thinking about that because I said, there aren't enough Spar opportunities. There aren't enough Subway opportunities. I tried Yogi Berry. Ultimately, it didn't work. Lost a lot of money on that. But that was an attempt to create something new where there could be new opportunities. But then I realized that I've come to my limit. I no longer can manage the team. And I'm going to have to start building the management piece in. I was building up the courage. It took me a while to get there, I'll be honest. And the other thing it took a while too was to attract the right type of people, both to North Belfast. That's with the greatest respect. I do absolutely everything I can possibly can, both to North Belfast because of the perception it has, because communities, cheek by jowl, and all the stuff, and the underinvestment and neglect that it's been given over the years, and also groceries not the sexiest job in the world. But I wanted to bring the best people I could into those two things. So it turned out the LinkedIn stuff and the mentorship of other people actually started attracting talent that would never have applied for jobs, because I was trying to find people who could be good managers for me and could deal with the light touch, because I'm light touch in terms of process. So they needed to be very self-motivated. I need a particular type. I'll be totally honest about this. I need somebody who's very self-motivated and likes a bit of mentorship rather than direct management. That's my way, and Kieran and I are very, very good like that. We're learning plenty off each other. And ultimately, I went looking for that sort of thing and got it wrong once or twice. And then Kieran started stalking me. So he did. I just get that in case I said something nice about him earlier on.
He was going to tag him and upload this.
I was almost reporting him to the police. He was flipping hitting me up on LinkedIn that often. And then to be fair, he came to. We used to run these sessions, recruitment. We used to do a whole day thing. Bring 20 or 30 people and do in 3 different parts, a group thing, etc. Kieran, highest score ever. I'll give him the highest score ever, and we did lots of them. Highest score ever.
Well, that's an achievement in itself.
Yeah, unbelievable. I said to myself, and he came in just on the Subway side initially. And then ultimately he now looks after the Spar and the Subway side.
And does a fantastic job doing it.
And see even creating those opportunities for people, the way you said about Vaughan and then with Kieran and stuff as well. Like that's one of the big factors of creating a good culture as well. That people have somewhere to go, that they have a direction to move towards, and they know what that path is. Like that's a massive part of it. That's
you have to have a succession plan. So I'll tell you one. Look, and sometimes because I don't have direct management of people on the front line, I'm not working in the business anymore. So I'm really sort of engaged with. I mean, all the old schoolers still all there, and they like to know I'm there. I go for lunch with guy Jerry Brown. Do you remember Jerry Brown?
Yeah, I do.
So from Ardoyne. Yeah, you remember I did a podcast episode once where some trolls tried to say to me, Gavin, you don't care about. Do you remember that one? You don't care about your people. Like, I still go to lunch every 2 to 3 months with Jerry Brown, take him out for lunch and a crew of the old school ones from Ardoyne, and we go out to lunch and celebrate. Like, there's nothing in that for me other than going and seeing Jerry, and he was a great servant to the business.
Yeah, it's nice.
And I care about people.
Yeah.
But I've just lost my train of thought there. I don't know where I was going with that one. Not like me, but
Well, it's a nice one. Gavin, because conscious that you're busy today, if somewhere to go,
Yeah.
if you're happy enough to do a part 2, well, maybe even just finish up there, because I'd love next time to even just get a wee bit more conversation about like say Jerry going on to the board and how that went, and talk about, we really want to get into business and community, because it's something that we've sort of divided our business up nearly into 2, and you kind of epitomize everything, the combination of the 2.
Yeah, you see that community bit. And we'll just touch upon it. I know, and you have no idea some of the shit I get. Like so for instance, I'm just going to tell you a wee story how bad it is. I did a podcast episode about it recently there. That one I did for Northern Ireland Children's Hospice.
Yes.
Whereby I said for every like a pound per like, etc., and it fucking went bananas. It blew up.
I think the trolls even come out in that one and went.
The trolls even come out. I have got so I have people that attack me on the post, but they're just pure trolls, pure nasty.
Yeah.
I had other people in other businesses that did posts saying that it was a balloon, shut down your LinkedIn account. What type of dickhead am I? Now, what actually happened in that was that I was donating something to Northern Ireland Children's Hospice that nobody would have even known about, and they said to me, Gavin, we're in a real perilous state. Our fundraising is down 90%. We need somebody to step up, and nobody was thinking about it because it was coronavirus going bonkers, absolutely coronavirus, everything, and all of this other suffering still goes on. And I went away that night and I said, how can I get something that really will go bang, knock people between it? And I came up with that idea and I went with that. I've had people doing posts. I have people contacting me on DM, gaslighting me, saying you haven't paid the money, you're not going to give them the money, and the stuff that people come up with to attack you when you have goodness. But the thing I know about that, and the reason why I'm prepared to take that shit from people like that, because they don't want the truth. They don't want me to be true, because it'll burst their bubble. That it's really about giving. It's really about adding value. They don't want life to be like that. I'm the fucking person who, if it's really like that, but I don't do any of that myself.
Yeah.
So I'll bring. Do you know what I mean? But the thing I know is
people have the time to sit and even do that, or that they actually think
that
way. First of all,
I know on the community piece. Yeah, I've had a lot of that. That's really brought the worst out in people, but some people. But the truth is, I know in that community piece is that I know. I was watching one on LinkedIn there the other night, and somebody has done something really amazing for the frontline workers, etc. And I just said, I know that doesn't happen if Gavan Wall hadn't been doing all the stuff he's doing for the last 2 years. I don't mean that. I mean that I know that has inspired. I know you guys have been good enough to say, do you know what? That made us be better. And I know
because we were afraid to publicize anything like that, and we didn't really see the benefit. And that's tell me actually went up to Children's Hospice and talked to Jonathan and that up there and seen what they got out of what you were doing. Like, I found that amazing, and see the experience of going up to visit the Children's Hospice. Like, it was so difficult to go and do it, but it was so inspiring to go up and do it as well, and to see what that money does and that publicity does. You know,
having a unique relationship with you. Obviously, we work very closely with you for a load of months. We still do, even in a friendship perspective. But I can tell you, we have seen it. We have seen the impact that it has on the people. We've spoken to Jonathan up in the hospice, and Sean, you've spoken to other people in the hospice, and you can see the impact that it has. And I think for anyone it says more about somebody else than you. It says more about them than you when somebody decides that that's the route they're going to take on it. But you know, I'm telling you, look, see the amount of times we could go on for hours, and I know we're going to cut it. We're going to run out of time here because we're running up there.
We're going to go on for hours in this one. We're going to come back to this. We need to keep people hanging on something to come back to see the next one. So,
because we have a couple of good questions lined up.
Yeah, all right.
But
Gavin, listen, if you're happy enough to do that, we'll maybe,
Yes,
I don't know if you're
look,
free this week, we'll see how it goes.
We'll do a part 2. Happy enough to do that. Look,
Happy days.
there's plenty to be told in the
you're a
story,
legend,
and
yep,
the
absolutely.
more people we can keep inspiring and trying to push on and create bigger businesses and give back to the community. That's the key.
Yeah. Brilliant. Amazing.
Absolutely.
Gavin,
Okay,
thank you
guys.
so much for today. Really, really genuinely appreciate it.
Thank you
Amazing
very
as always
much.
to get chatting to you, and we look forward to part 2. So,
See you,
guys, that's
see you
all for
again
now.
soon.
Thank you all very much, and remember, engage, enable, empower.
100%. Thanks, guys.
Take care,
Yeah.
guys.